All right. Wait a minute. Let's see. Let's do a mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the mic? Where is? Still waiting for the signal. All right. Sounds good. Still waiting for the signal. Good. Is that good? No, I need to play it. I need to make sure. No, I have to run it from YouTube. I need to make sure that I have to run it from YouTube
from this
so that I know that it picks me up and it picks up.
I
I have
the
to run
echo
YouTube as well
from YouTube
from this. Okay, I think
so
it's
that I know that
okay. So if we look at the settings, we will see that both are my USB device. Very nice. Okay. Me. So what do we got? A personal announcement.
All right, you guys, I'll get right into this. A couple of weeks ago, I received a letter that changed my life, certainly changed the course of my life in politics, and I'm going to read you that letter now and let you know that the author of it is sitting across from me. It reads, "My name is Philip Turney. I am 77 years old today. On June 8th, 1967, I was just 20 years old when the gallant crew of the USS Liberty was savagely attacked. Our American flag was proudly flying on
The USS Liberty.
our ship in the Mediterranean Sea that day. The designation AGTR-5 was clearly painted on the bow, port, and starboard sides. USS Liberty was written in English on her stern. When we arrived on June 7th, we were overflown by Israeli reconnaissance aircraft, and the same activity was repeated on the morning of June 8th. We were positively identified as American and friendly by the IDF. We had requested a destroyer escort long before we entered the Mediterranean, but we were denied twice. Our captain assured us that we were clearly marked as American, and we therefore had nothing to fear. We were alone, 12.5 miles off the coast of the Sinai Peninsula, always in international waters. The Israeli reconnaissance aircraft were clearly marked with the Star of David. We therefore felt secure, seeing a flying boxcar and other smaller recon propeller aircraft taking good care of us. The attack began at 2 o'clock on a beautiful, bright, sunny day by French-made Mirage and Mistral jets painted black with no markings. We had no clue who was attacking us, but
Wait. So that's not Israeli.
assumed it was an Arab state. During the first pass-by, the jets took out all but one of our transmitting antennas, as well as every watertight door above the waterline. The air attack lasted about 25 minutes, killing and maiming our firefighters and any sailor who moved. Our radio man took one antenna offline, so it wasn't transmitting and wasn't hit. He ran a long wire to it, and the SOS went out to the 6th Fleet. It was even picked up as far away as Vietnam. Rockstar, under attack by an unknown jet aircraft. Help us. Captain Tully, skipper of the USS Saratoga, sent jets to come to our aid. Before the jets hit the horizon, they were recalled by Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara. Captain Engen of the USS America and Tully relaunched more aircraft to aid us. They were also recalled, this time by Lyndon Baines Johnson himself. He said, quote, "I don't care about a few dead sailors. I will not embarrass my ally, Israel. Return to base immediately," end quote. How did he know who was attacking us if we did not? We were set up by our own government to let a foreign government have their way with us. The IDF even dropped.
What's your evidence that all these things took place? Like, what are you basing this on? This guy's letter, he didn't know what LBJ was saying.
Napalm on the bridge of our ship. How low they would go, we would soon find out. 3 motor torpedo boats headed our way, and 1 torpedo hit our starboard side. We saw the Star of David on the boats. They were there to sink us. The attack continued for another hour and a half. Attacking jet aircraft destroyed all but 3 of our life rafts, which we had put overboard. We were going to place our most seriously wounded in them so that they would have a chance at life, but the IDF would have none of that. They shot 2 of them out of the water and took one aboard their boats as a trophy of the kill. They continued shooting and killing my mates. They left and we thought that it was over, but it wasn't. IDF helicopters were sent with troops armed and ready to board our ship and finish us off. Then they just left. I guess the gate was up when the mighty IDF could not sink our defenseless ship. When it was all done, there were over 821 rocket and cannon holes and over 5,000 armor-piercing bullets riddling the ship. Napalm was burning us up, and a 40 by 40-foot torpedo hole was in her side, causing the ship to list badly to our starboard side. We then waited 17 hours for help. I guess they hoped that we would sink that night. Help was only 40 minutes away from us, but they left us out alone to die. When the USS America and the USS Davis arrived to help us, they took our wounded to care for them. Their wounds were so horrific, words cannot explain. Admiral Kidd boarded our ship a few days later, and the cover-up immediately began. We were ordered to never speak of the attack to anyone, not even with one another. Penalties would be fines, imprisonment, or worse, and we all knew that worse meant death. We have been treated like garbage for the last 57 years. Congress has been bought and paid for with the exception, over the years, of a few brave lawmakers. Their names are Representatives Pete McCloskey, Paul Finley, and Jim Trafficant. As the courageous Rep. Thomas Massey has noted, all Republican members of Congress except for him have AIPAC handlers. We can assume this is also true of nearly all Democrats. We are the most decorated ship in naval history for a single engagement. I believe God saved us that day to allow us to communicate the truth of this attack to leaders like you. We give all power to Jesus Christ. We are just his servants that horrible day and now. The USS Liberty survivors are the biggest whistleblowers this country has ever seen. We have been sneered as anti-Semitic, Jew haters, and Nazis. Our only sin is that we survived. We didn't kill anyone. Israel did all the murdering that day, and the US government did all the covering up. I'm asking you to help us save America by telling all the facts about the slaughter of my mate.
What cover-up? What cover-up are you talking about? Everybody knows about this. I've heard this multiple times already.
We are begging you to support us. Respectfully, Phil Turney, the president of the USS Liberty Veterans Society.
I thought that if you would speak about it, they would kill you. So obviously you're wrong. Nobody killed you, and nobody's killing anyone who is whistleblowing this. There's nothing to whistleblow, as far as I understand. So I don't know what's going on.
Association. Great honor to have you here today.
Thank you, Candace. It's a great honor for me to be here and represent the gallant crew of the USS Liberty that had been treated so badly, as I said in the letter, for 57 years.
So I just want to start just really at the beginning, I guess. When did you sign up to be in the United States military?
I joined the Navy at 17 years old at San Diego, California. That's where I went to boot camp.
How is this a personal announcement? This is clickbait.
I did 2 tours of Vietnam before I got aboard the USS Liberty. And I did 3 tours with her, including your last. So that was my naval career. And I got out of the Navy, and then I wasn't working at the time. I thought I'd never go back in, because why would I go back into a place where people are going to try to kill me? But I wasn't working, had a baby. So I went back in and I got aboard the USS Maddox, DD-731, which was in the Tonkin Gulf, which was another false flag.
Wow. So just as
Oh, so there's another false flag. So this guy is a conspiracy theorist who was involved in a mishap. So everything to him is a conspiracy.
question, I mean, most people just being in the Vietnam War, I mean, that was traumatizing enough, obviously. So you came back and you decided that you were still going to serve the country. When exactly did you find out that you were going to be aboard the USS Liberty?
I found out when I got orders to go to the East Coast from the West Coast. I was on an ammunition ship then, USS Mauna Kea AE-22. I said, well, great, I'm going away to the East Coast. And I always wanted to go there anyway. So I ended up on the Liberty. And when I got aboard the Liberty, they said it was a ship that mapped the bottom of the ocean. And I said, wow, how could that be when all the antennas are going straight up?
Mhm.
But I was a dumb kid. I believed anything they told me until a few months after that. I said, no, this ain't right. We're a spy ship.
Okay, so they initially said to you, they didn't even, you're serving on a ship and they don't even tell you the truth about why you're there. So here you are and they're like, you're just here to map the bottom of the ocean?
Yes, that's what they told me.
Okay.
But there were 2 different crews aboard that ship. There were 200.
So he thinks that everything is a black op, everything is a conspiracy. So this guy is a nut job. And, okay. So the Jews are just another par for the course.
They're spies, CIA, NSA spies. And I was in ship's company, engineering. And there were 100 of us, and with the other guys, boats and mates, cooks, things like that, to run the ship. Our only job, Candace, was to make sure that the communication technicians got where they had to go, so they could do their deal.
Okay. And so when did you notice, or I guess when did it become apparent to you, how long had you been aboard before you went, I don't really think that we're here to map the bottom of the ocean? Did they tell you, hey, I'm actually in the CIA or I'm in the NSA?
No, they didn't talk to us, and we didn't talk to them. We weren't allowed to.
Okay.
And so it's two different crews. And we figured it out pretty quick what was going on, but yeah, it was so secret. I mean, everything was secret, very, very secret.
And did you, just wondering how the setup is, are you sharing a room with 4 or 5 people? How does that work on the ship?
Well, I was in a bunk room with about 70 men.
70 men in one room. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was engineering spaces. And up forward was the boats and mates. That's where they had their berthing. The spies were in the back of the ship.
Okay. And so what's a typical day like?
Typical day was get up, take a shower, go to chow, go to work, stand your watches. And when we were out at sea, we'd sunbathe a lot. Because, we were always off the coast of Africa. And we were doing reconnaissance there, up and down the coast, 4 or 5 miles an hour, all the time. And we just go up and down and up and down. We go to ports, different ports, Luanda, Angola, Abidjan, you name it, all the ports on the west coast.
So it's beautiful.
Oh my, was it ever. Great taste, pineapples, everything. It was great. I love those people. They were good to us.
And you're also thinking this is very low risk. You're going, hey, in terms of having an engagement, I'm being sent out here. It's beautiful weather. We're sunbathing. Things are looking up.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was good duty. It was great duty. But on the last cruise, we were headed to Africa again, just like we always did. We stopped in Abidjan, and this was in June. And we got emergency orders to leave. We just got there. We got emergency orders to leave. Get everybody back aboard ship ASAP. And we took off for points. We had no idea where we were going, but the 6-day war was going on.
Okay.
And we didn't know it.
Oh, you didn't know what was going on?
No, not until a little bit later.
Okay. So at this point, and just to be clear, how long had you been aboard the USS Liberty?
I did a little over 2.5 years on the Liberty.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
You're seasick, not seasick at all then, I guess.
I got seasick every time I went out for about a week and a half, a little bit later.
Okay. So at this point, and just to be clear, how long had you been aboard the USS Liberty?
I did a little over 2.5 years on the Liberty.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
You're seasick, not seasick at all then, I guess.
I got seasick every time I went out for about a week, and it was gone.
Okay. So now you get these emergency orders, and you have no idea where you're going. Are they giving you any information, or they're just saying it's an emergency, everybody get back in?
Everybody get back in, and we headed to Rota, Spain. We picked up 3 Marines. They were linguists, and a civilian, Alan Blue. He was he was killed, by the way. He was another linguist, but he worked directly for the NSA.
Okay. So he gets on board. You're in Spain now, and then where do you go?
We headed into the Mediterranean, into go through the Rock of Gibraltar and all that, and all the ships were going this way, going the other way. We were the only one going that way. Okay.
And still, nobody's informing you about the 6-day war?
We did find out that we were going into a war zone.
Okay. And what information, if any, did they give you?
None.
You're just going into a war zone. Prepare for anything?
No, we were prepared because our Captain McGonigal, we trained all the time for different situations, chemical drills, fire, all kinds of different stuff.
And what's the general mood as you guys are heading towards a conversation between you and your shipmates?
Apprehension. In fact, we had a Star of David. We knew what was going on there. People had Star of Davids all over the ship, inside the ship, hoping Israel would win because they were our best buddies in the whole wide world. And come to find out, they weren't.
So now it's June 7th. Is that correct, when you arrived into the Sinai Peninsula?
Right. We got there on the 7th, and the Israelis started overflying us then, taking pictures of us. Same thing happened on the June 8th. flying boxcar, which is a 2-engine plane. The doors were open. You could see the cameraman taking pictures of us.
So they're that close. They're that low.
Oh yeah, you could see the pilots. We would wave at them, they'd wave at us. Very friendly. They'd dip their wings like everything's great. We felt good because our best friends were there, and we had no worries. I mean, none at all, because they were going to protect us. But it ended up they didn't.
So you had described in your letter, saying that you had the American flag displayed. Can you describe for me, first and foremost, again, reiterate where it was displayed and also how large the flag was?
Right, it was on the mast, and the flag was brand new. It was a 5x8 flag, very visible. It was 12 knots going over across the deck. You could see the flag, and in fact, the Israelis identified us as American and friendly.
How do you know that?
Well, we know it because of the intercept we picked up, and they admitted it themselves. We were on their war table. They identified us as American. And when they changed the watch, they forgot to tell the other watch commander that we were there. They took us off the war table. So we no longer existed.
Okay. When you say take you off the war table, I'm not familiar with that lingo.
Okay.
So what does that mean? They took us off the war.
Well, on the war table, they have like different ships or different.
Like literally set up a table that shows you.
Right.
Okay.
And what's going on. And they took us off. So we were gone to them. They thought. But they knew exactly what they were doing. Exactly what they were doing. When they overflew us, they took the pictures of all the ship. They knew exactly what they hit.
So they took the piece that represents the ship, that represents them. So the Israelis took the ship that represents the Liberty, took it off the table, which is obviously a mistake to do, because now you have an unidentified ship and it's unexpected. So the Israeli pilots, they don't know, somebody didn't know, and they attacked. They thought it's an enemy ship. But he says no, it's they knew exactly what they were doing. How does he know that they knew exactly what they were doing? So he's saying this was all a conspiracy. What's the conspiracy? Somebody took the ship off the table in order to create the confusion on the Israeli side so that the Israelis unintentionally would attack the Liberty? So someone intentionally took the Liberty off the war table because they knew exactly what they were doing, meaning they knew that this would end up in this attack. How do you know all this? How do you know? How do you know that whoever took it off the table knew exactly what they were doing? How do you know this? How did they know this? Whoever took it off the table, how did they know that this would end up happening? So you're saying this was intentional? What's the purpose?
When they hit it. And I might add, I believe, and I think most of my shipmates believe, that this attack was planned a year in advance.
A year in advance?
Yeah.
This guy's a nut job, and she's gobbling it up. She loves it because she hates Jews. She's an anti-Semite. She herself is a Looney Tune conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
What makes you say?
She doesn't believe the Earth is a sphere. I mean, she's a Looney Tune.
Well, there was another spy ship in the area, USS or SS Valdez. It was a civilian manned ship, but it was owned by the Navy. They could have done the same thing that we were doing, but they took them out of the area. Sinking the USS Liberty is a hell of a lot sexier than sinking the Valdez.
What's the purpose? What do you mean sexier? What's the purpose?
Why's that?
Well, it's all American sailors and Marines. They wanted us at the bottom, and so they could blame it on the Arab states and bring us into World War III.
Okay.
Oh, so the purpose was World War III? Why? What's the purpose in that? And why didn't they go through and commit, World War III? And why do they need so? What a Looney Tune! This is such a waste of time. I mean, these people are just conspiracy theorists, and so many people believe this.
So let me ask you a question. Now, it's the morning of the 8th, and you like you said, on the 7th, they took pictures, they positively identified you, you were able to hear this over the radio. Did they still have at that moment the CIA agents on board?
Yes.
The NSA agent?
It's incredible. Such a beautiful woman with such a perfect life. Her husband is a multi-billionaire. She herself is a self-made probably also around a billionaire herself. And she has kids. Everything in her universe is such perfection. And she ends up being such an anti-Semite and such a conspiracy theorist and such a loony.
agents were on board. So you still got the exact same amount of people that are on board here.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking about a pretty big sacrifice they're willing to make.
Right.
Total number of people,
294 souls.
294 souls. Okay. Take me through what happened on June 8th. You get up.
Is this his house or her house?
We get up at 0600, and like I say, we go to chow and take a shower, go to chow, go to work.
I'm assuming it's his house. Who's this chick? Maybe his daughter. It's probably him. That's his daughter, probably. What is it? Fugitive?
We had a damage control drill just before the attack, say about 1 o'clock. And I was in damage control. I was assistant on scene leader in damage control. And I was in an impregnated suit, which is a suit for washing down the ship of chemicals. And it was very, very hot that day. I mean, 100 degrees on the deck, easy or more. And I thought I was going to pass out. It was so hot. Finally, it was over with. And I went and stowed my gear. Excuse me, the sound powered phones weren't working on the starboard gun now.
The sound?
Yeah, they're sound powered phones, from just like, you could put on headphones, but they were sound powered. They weren't electrical. And for some reason, it wasn't working. And I went to the IC shop and I got a friend of mine, David Skolak. He was an IC man, and that was his job, take care of the IC system there for sound powered phones and the IC system, intercoms on the ship. And he came up there, and the gunner's mate was up there also. They were manning the guns. We were in condition 3, just in case if we could see the bombs going off and everything on the Sinai. So we thought, that this is really not a good place to be. And just as soon as I left that gun mount, about 30 seconds after I left it, I got back to my workstation, and all hell broke loose. The attack began.
What's the first thing you remember?
First thing I remember was all hands get to your general quarter stations. We're under attack. We're under attack. And I got to my GQ station, which is in the front part of the ship. And those 2 men that I just left there, not a minute it took me to get back up there. They were dead. They were blown to bits. Anything that moved aboard that ship, they were shot at. As in the letter, they took out all of our antennas within 3 seconds. Our 4 50 caliber machine guns were gone. Every watertight door was hit. And this went on for 25 minutes, dropping napalm on us. 25 minutes of that, you can't imagine. Every second was like an hour. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. And you got people severely blown up, wounded badly. And it continued and continued and continued for 25, 30 minutes. And then there was a lull. We saw the torpedo boats coming. It was like the Star David, oh, good. Because these were unmarked aircraft. We didn't know who was attacking us. We thought it was the Arabs. And then we saw the torpedo boats, and Star David, oh man, here's our best friends. They're going to come help us. No, they come to sink us.
When you talk about them dropping napalm, and so they did this immediately, what does that do for people that are not aware? What is the purpose of that, and how does the body react to napalm, the chemical agent?
It can burn you to.
So here's a guy. I mean, they're saying, Candace, my dad, blah, blah. Please get this to Trump so Trump will tell us the truth. And somebody responds here, sadly, Trump works for them. So these guys are incorrigible. You can't save them. And maybe they were threatened to stop this nonsense, stop this conspiracy theory, which only served to ignite more fire, to ignite their passion around this conspiracy theory. So when you tell a conspiracy theorist that he is part of a conspiracy theory, you're only emboldening them. You're only encouraging them to become more conspiratorial. The way to deal with a conspiracy theorist is not by attacking them. It's actually by understanding them, by listening to them, because it's emotional. They're trapped in an emotional trap. How evil our government is. So Lord, cover this man in protection. And everyone here believes in Jesus. They're all Jesus worshippers. Justice for the USS Liberty veterans, us or US, whatever. My grandfather died refusing to talk about this out of fear. Now I am beginning to understand. Out of fear of whom? Right? There's 2 sides here. So this guy is a Looney Tune, is a nutcase. North Korea launches mass battlefield. What? Assault on Ukraine? Putin desperate enforcer. Mm-hmm. Tim Pool, regular people do not understand what money actually is. Do you understand? Anyway. I'm 88 years old, Marine. I did not know about this fiasco. I'm ashamed for my country. Why are you ashamed? What I don't understand. It's a mishap. I mean, there's friendly fire all the time. I turn 72 tomorrow. I'm Navy disabled veteran. This man is telling the truth. How do you know? And I shed tears when I clicked on you. I hope to hear a happy announcement. You're an idiot. President Trump, please help the veterans of the USS Liberty. Yeah, and now look at the responses. I'm sure he doesn't read YouTube comments. Don't count on it. There you go. They own him too, lol. So these people are beyond reproach. The J3s got him for 100 million. He sold out. What is J3? He means J6? No one owns him. Think honestly about what he risked this year to simply run in the election and what he has lost and nearly lost, including his life. Right, but they think it's all a conspiracy. They think the assassinations are a conspiracy too. I mean, these people, you can't deal with them logically. There's no logic when it comes to conspiracy theorists. I watched a video yesterday about conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theories. Oh, shoot. Let me charge this battery. I'm becoming a little bit hungry. Where's the other battery? Okay, we need to charge this one as well. So there's this chick. This is fascinating. Just typing in conspiracy theories on YouTube and just going through videos that YouTube recommends in the search, that's so incredible. Like, most people by far are very conspiratorial. I'm not conspiratorial. I don't think there's any conspiracies in general, but there are wrong things. I think, like, whatever I cannot say, those words that I cannot say, I don't think those are conspiracies, right? Whatever, there's certain words that I would say that would take this video taken, that would cause YouTube to take this video down. So is it a conspiracy? No, it's not a conspiracy. It's just reality. There's no conspiracy. There's misunderstandings. People misunderstand. One second. People, including, very smart people, including the smartest. All you need to know is that Einstein was a communist. You don't need to know anything else. And very smart people are communists, were Marxists. So that's all you need to know. And you see how communism ended. I mean, communism is North Korea. That's how wonderful communism is. It's always served at the end of a gun barrel. That's how wonderful communism is. So people make mistakes. Even very smart people make mistakes. So where is this chick? I don't remember her channel. And there's no way I'm going to find it in the history. But she really explains well the theory about conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists theory. Like, what is the explanation of this phenomenon? So she's like a psychoanalyst. What is a conspiracist? So Dr. Todd Granji, he's pretty terrific. I wouldn't be surprised that he has a good take on it. We should maybe listen to what he has to say, Dr. Granji. And there she is. She is incredible. At least this video. This is.
Thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring a portion of today's video.
I think this is the second video of hers that I've watched, and she is absolutely phenomenal. Beautiful and phenomenal. And she's like half Asian or something, or quarter Asian or something. Really, really good video. Really good video. I learned a lot, and she's a doctor, so I learned a lot from her from this video. Why didn't I upvote?
Welcome to my scientifically informed insider look at mental health topics. If you find this video to be
Let's see what he says.
Interesting or helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks if I can take a look at conspiracy theories and talk about their relationship to the dark triad traits and schizotypy. Now, we talk about conspiracy theories and the belief in conspiracy theories. We know that there's no single agreed upon definition for a conspiracy theory. And this really makes the phenomenon somewhat difficult to study. So looking at two popular definitions, we can kind of see the problem here already. One is, for a conspiracy theory, the unnecessary assumption of conspiracy when other explanations are more probable. Second definition, an unverified and relatively implausible allegation of conspiracy, claiming that the events are the result of a secret plot carried out by a preternaturally sinister and powerful group of people, right? So preternaturally means outside of the natural. It's different than supernatural. So supernatural means an act of God, and preternatural means just outside of nature. So you can have like evil forces that would be preternatural. So either way, we see really the problem here with defining conspiracy theories. As I mentioned, if you look at these two definitions, you see completely different aspects of this construct, right? So if you look at the first definition, that could be almost anybody, an unnecessary assumption of conspiracy when other explanations are more probable. A lot of people do that. With the second definition, that's a much smaller group of people, right? So these people believe in sinister individuals who are out there doing something outside the natural world that is going to cause damage. Now, of those two definitions, I do like the second one a little bit better. I think it taps into the construct of what we mean by conspiracy theory a little better. And using a definition like that, or similar to that, we see that over 50% of Americans believe in at least one conspiracy theory. So conspiracy theories are fairly popular. Now, there are a lot of different conceptualizations about what predicts the belief in a conspiracy theory. One model is that there are three main factors that predict the belief. There's the existential threat, and this really resonates with what we see in conspiracy theory thinking. Conspiracy theories are really never innocent, right? They're always some sort of massive threat to humanity or to a lot of people involved in them. For example, we don't see theories about government officials plotting to make ice cream more available, right? It's always something, again, kind of dangerous. The next factor is sense-making processes. So people who believe in conspiracy theories, sometimes called conspiracists, they believe that their explanation is the most logical. They believe they've applied a logical, reasonable process. And the conclusion they have come to is in alignment with what other reasonable people should have come to, right? So people are being fooled, but they're not being fooled. So they believe they're logical, and other people are trying to be logical, but again, they don't know the truth. And the third factor is an antagonistic outgroup. Again, so this would be the so-called bad guys, the sinister people that are conspiring with each other. Now, just because somebody believes in a conspiracy doesn't make them a conspiracy theorist, right? So generally, for somebody to be considered a conspiracist, they have to believe in several conspiracy theories. They have to actively endorse the conspiracy theories. And at least one of the theories would often, anyway, involve something bizarre or implausible. So this really gets into a comparison within conspiracists, so kind of regular and diehard, I guess, and comparing these two groups to what we call conventionalists. So conventionalists are essentially the opposite of a conspiracist. Conventionalists look at situations and say there is a reasonable explanation that does not involve a conspiracy. Although technically, somebody could be a conventionalist and believe that some conspiracies still occur. Remember, we have these different definitions out there for conspiracy theory, so it can get a little bit tricky. So conspiracism is not associated with a lack of knowledge about politics. This is something we hear a lot, like, oh, conspiracy theorists must not understand politics. Actually, research shows that they are just as informed about political facts as conventionalists. In online forums, we see that conspiracists are sometimes painted as more hostile and using more aggressive language. Interestingly, conventionalists tend to be more hostile in online forums, at least. People don't always fit clearly into one category or another. This is another problem. Looking at the online forums, we see that some conspiracists will argue for a conspiracy, they'll argue in favor of a conspiracy theory, but that same individual will argue against other conspiracy theories. So in a sense, they're only a conspiracist looking at certain theories. They're conventionalists looking at other theories. So again, categorization and studying these phenomena, this becomes difficult. So with all this in mind, what really qualifies somebody to be a conspiracist? I think it really comes down to a few different things, but one key part would be passive versus active endorsement. I talked about that, but there is no set rule. So I'll just offer my opinion here. I'm going to provide some examples here of beliefs that are and are not generally related to being an official or diehard, I guess, conspiracy theorist. So first looking at some beliefs that I think are not associated really with being a true conspiracy theorist. So if somebody believes in high-level corruption, I don't think this is really related to conspiracy theories. Unfortunately, this type of corruption is common, so it doesn't really, in my opinion, qualify as a conspiracy theory. If somebody believes in one conspiracy theory and that person has some sort of connection to that theory, that tends to move, I think, away from being a conspiracy theorist. For example, if somebody owns a car and it breaks down when they're driving to a polling place to cast their vote in an election, they might start to believe that automotive manufacturers are in conspiracy against the politician that they're going to vote for. Or if it's isolated to something that they're connected to and something happened to them directly, that could just be a logical error and not necessarily somebody who really truly believes in a number of conspiracy theories. I think if somebody believes in a conspiracy theory that is technically possible and not bizarre in nature, that could mean they're not really a serious conspiracy theorist. For example, people who believe the government is spying on citizens. We know this has actually happened. So in some cases, yes, it's a conspiracy theory, but in other cases, it's true. Believing in a political conspiracy theory only. So if somebody believes that their political party lost an election because of a conspiracy by the other party, this is actually remarkably common. We see this after many, many elections. So I don't think somebody has to be a true conspiracy theorist to believe this. Now, also looking at like non-specificity. So there's this item from an instrument that's used to measure belief in conspiracy theories. And the item says, much of what happens in the world today is decided by a small and secretive group of individuals. Well, that's not really specific. And we see that over 50% of people endorse the statement. So I don't really associate this, again, with being kind of a diehard conspiracist. And the last one here would be a weak endorsement of or a weak attitude toward a conspiracy theory. So essentially not believing it all the way. So if somebody says that they believe it's more likely than not that there was no moon landing, that's not really committing to the belief. So now moving to the side of the official or diehard conspiracy theorists, what do they believe typically? Well, we see a few different things here. They tend to believe conspiracy theories that were made up by researchers, right? We see papers that talk about this where researchers just completely made up a conspiracy theory. No one believed this conspiracy theory. It wasn't an official one. It wasn't out there anyway. And people who tend to believe in other conspiracy theories believe in it. So that's leading more toward the serious side. We see believing in conspiracy theories that are mutually contradictory, right? I've seen this many times. For example, somebody who believes that lizard people are in control of the government and Hollywood, but there's also a secret society who's in control of the government and Hollywood. Well, you can't have the lizards and the humans both in control, right? Somebody's got to be in control. Somebody has to be in charge. So those are really contradictory.
This happens all the time when I listen to conspiracy theorists, especially in the physics community, the alternate physicists. They don't have a theory. They don't have an alternative theory that explains physics. They have many alternative theories that are contradictory.
The lizards or the humans, right? And again, I've seen many people actually who believe in both. And when kind of confronted about the inconsistency, typically they can't offer really much of an explanation there. So they're kind of missing the fact that they're contradictory. Now, another one here would be believing.
That would be a good tool to use. Like if a person has contradictory conspiracy theories that he doesn't explain, he cannot explain away the contradiction, I would say that would suggest that the person can be defined as as conspiratorial.
Conspiracy theories have bizarre content. So the government is hiding evidence that there are aliens walking around the planet, or the earth is flat, or something that has kind of a magical thinking, bizarre element. And I'll talk about that in a moment when I get to schizotypy. So I think that's more on the diehard side. And the last one on the list here would be the belief did not originate from a rational evaluation of evidence related specifically to conspiracy theories in which the person believes. Rather, we see a general tendency to believe in conspiracy theories. Now, this concept is called conspiracist ideation, and sometimes it's called conspiratorial thinking. It's often using this element that conspiracy theories are studied by people who kind of invest in this particular thinking. They tend to believe in several conspiracy theories, not really rationally evaluating evidence. So many people think of conspiracy theories as
because you could blame me for being very conspiratorial, but I don't believe there's any conspiracies. I think many people, including very smart people, are very wrong about many things. But I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think anyone has conspired to believe that in 07, 08, there was a financial crash. Everyone believes it. Everyone repeats it. So, okay, there's no conspiracy. When you talk to people and you go through the data, they begin to realize that there could not have been anything. The data doesn't show that there was anything. As difficult as it is to believe, but the data doesn't show anything. The fact that everyone kept on yelling that there is something going on, that's, yeah, everybody said that, but nothing in the data shows up. And the same for 29, the 1929 collapse, the Great Depression doesn't show up in the data. And, you know, other conspiracies, they just don't show up in the data. But there's no conspiracy. It's okay, everybody's wrong about that. But no one conspires. So I think that should also, you need to also consider that. Like, do you believe, like, is it a conspiracy? You have to ask the person, is it a conspiracy? If they say yes, it's a conspiracy, okay, that's conspiratorial. Like, I don't believe there's any conspiracy ever. Even when it's like 100%, it's not. It's still an emergent phenomenon. Even an actual conspiracy is not really a conspiracy. I personally can't think of a single conspiracy.
Relatively harmless, and some appear to be. Like if somebody believes that there was no moon landing, that's not necessarily obviously destructive. Others, however, are fairly destructive. For example, declining vaccination rates have been attributed to vaccination-related conspiracy beliefs. Also, belief in conspiracy theories can lead to social and political disengagement. So it might be bad for society for a lot of people to believe in conspiracy theories, but it's also bad for the individual who believes in the conspiracy theories. Now, belief in conspiracy theories is related to paranoia, low trust.
That's another marker that I would look for. Is the person refusing to engage? Are they becoming emotional when they engage? The more emotional you become, the more I would mark you as conspiratorial, because it's an emotional phenomenon. Are you willing to engage? Let me see. I have an email. Oh my God, looking for emails is so difficult. Okay, that's everything is okay. Everything is okay. Everything is okay.
Receptivity to unusual beliefs, schizotypy, belief in the paranormal, although this relationship is actually fairly weak, high openness to experience, and low agreeableness. And these have been contested as well. Now, looking specifically at low agreeableness, this leads us to the idea of the dark.
Let me just make sure that, yeah, audio is fine. Okay.
Triad traits, because low agreeableness is common to all three of those traits: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. So this kind of leads me specifically to answering the question about conspiracy theorists and schizotypy.
Also, low agreeableness. I would say I am very agreeable, because whatever you would say, I would never say no. I would never say you're wrong. I would usually say almost. Let me tell you what I think. Like, I'm very agreeable. I can always understand your position. If you believe that 1 + 1 is not 2, yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. If you believe 1 + 1 is 2, yeah, I can certainly see where you're coming from. I can always see where you're coming from. So I think that's not conspiratorial. Like, can you see where the other guy is coming from? Like, someone who believes, like a conspiracist would deny where the other guy is coming from, except for it's malicious.
And dark triad traits. Now, I used several articles to help make this video, and one specific article really looked at the question of schizotypy and the dark triad traits. I'll put the references for all the articles in the
What is dark triad?
description for this video. But in this one article, again, specifically looking at this topic, we see they performed a regression using odd beliefs and magical thinking from schizotypy, and also narcissism, both grandiose and vulnerable, psychopathy, both primary and secondary, and Machiavellianism. So all these variables were loaded in the regression as predictor variables, and the outcome variable was conspiracy theory beliefs. So they wanted to see kind of what the contribution was of all these variables to having conspiracy theory beliefs. What was the variance that each of these predictor variables explained in conspiracy theory beliefs? And what we see here is that 55% of the variance of conspiracy theory beliefs were explained by odd thinking, magical beliefs, Machiavellianism, and primary psychopathy. So these are really interesting findings. That's quite a bit of variance, and it's interesting in terms of what explained the variance, but it's also interesting in terms of what didn't explain a statistically significant amount of variance. So kind of breaking this down and looking at these, starting with odd thinking and magical beliefs, we see this as one of the characteristics of schizotypy and of schizotypal personality disorder, which is a cluster A personality disorder in the DSM. Now, schizotypy is considered to be kind of like a continuum with schizophrenia. So it goes from paranoid personality traits to schizoid personality traits to schizotypal personality traits, and then moves to schizophrenia. That's kind of how we think of it. So it kind of makes sense that odd thinking and magical beliefs would have kind of this delusional component to them. And we know these beliefs can become morbid with delusional thinking. Now, we also see specifically with this item that conspiracy theories may offer a sense of control over the unexplained. Right? So somebody has odd thinking, they have magical beliefs, they want to know they have some control over that which they really can't explain. And conspiracy theories kind of fill that gap. They kind of satisfy that need. Now, moving to Machiavellianism, when I was reading this finding, this one really didn't make a lot of sense to me. Right? So there's a cynical component with Machiavellianism. Because somebody's cynical, they might believe that other people would be involved in a conspiracy because they might do the same thing if they had a chance to be. They might think of themselves as being one of those government officials who's capable of conducting this type of conspiracy. So I guess cynical kind of connects a little bit. In terms of the strategic and opportunistic components of Machiavellianism, I don't really see how there's much to gain by believing in a conspiracy theory, so these don't seem to line up for me anyway. Now, people who are Machiavellianistic tend to view people as foolish and possibly as being inferior, so it's really easy for them to picture other people as being the victims of a sophisticated government plot, for example. So I guess this component is fairly consistent with this finding. And we see that people who are Machiavellianistic are prone to manipulate others. And because of this tendency, they may be worried about being manipulated themselves. So by believing in a conspiracy theory, they're kind of making a preemptive strike, right? They're reaching
Interesting. They're mirroring, they're projecting.
out and distrusting people.
So because they are distrustful, then they are distrusting. Yeah, that's good.
And maybe even trying to manipulate people rather than being the victim of that behavior. Now we move to primary psychopathy. This one I don't really see. I mean, I know the research findings had it connected, but I don't really see the connection here. Maybe it has something to do with the overlap between primary psychopathy and Machiavellianism. So again, seeing people is easy to manipulate. So it makes sense that people in the government would be manipulating others. That's the only thing I can really see that connects. It's hard for me to really see how people who are psychopathic would be too interested in conspiracy theories. So again, I didn't really connect with this one.
Yeah, a psychopath, I would say, is very practical.
Now, in terms of the characteristics that are related, right? Again, I think these are just as interesting.
And being a conspiracist is very impractical.
Secondary psychopathy was not related at all. So people don't believe in conspiracy theories because of something like impulsivity. Now, in terms of narcissism, we see no relationship here between grandiose or...
I would say maybe also high IQ, because you need to be high IQ to be a conspiracist. It's more difficult to think up a conspiracy rather than just what you see is what you get.
We're vulnerable. Now, prior research has shown that grandiose narcissism was related. But again, this study says it's not. And vulnerable narcissism, I'm not aware of any studies that connect that to conspiracy theory beliefs. So what I find interesting about this, with the secondary psychopathy and both types of narcissism, is this really means that there's no relationship between conspiracy theorists and cluster B personality pathology. We don't see anything connecting to antisocial personality disorder, that would be the secondary psychopathy. Nothing connected to narcissistic personality disorder, that would be the grandiose narcissism. Nothing connected to borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
Severely, and it also can explode your lungs. Very, very hot. I tried to go up and put it out with CO2 and I couldn't do it. They shot up all our fire hoses too. We had no way to fight fires with water at all. They shot them all up.
Instantly, in that first 25 minutes, how does the body react to napalm, the chemical agent?
It can burn you severely. That's what we saw the torpedo boats coming. We thought the Star David, oh good. Because they were unmarked jet aircraft. We didn't know who was attacking us. We thought it was the Arabs. And then we saw the torpedo boats and the Star David. Oh man, here's our best friends. They're going to come help us. No, they come to sink us.
When you talk about them dropping napalm, and so they did this immediately, what does that do for people that are not aware? What is the purpose of that, and how does the body react to napalm, the chemical agent?
It can burn you severely, and it also can explode your lungs. Very, very hot. I tried to go up and put it out with CO2 and I couldn't do it. They shot up all our fire hoses too. We had no way to fight fires with water at all. They shot them all up.
Instantly, in that first 25 minutes,
Yes.
so they took out
Everything.
the antennas instantly, the fire hoses instantly, so you couldn't take out fire. And during those 25 minutes, what were you doing specifically?
I was getting people off deck, taken to 3 eyes in the mess decks. The whole mess decks was full of people laying on the tables, on the floor. It was a sea of broken and bloodied men. And it continued like that for, like I say, for the entire attack. And then the torpedo boats got up to us. They fired 5 torpedoes at us.
So all the antennas are taken out, 25 minutes has passed, and they're obviously assuming that you can't communicate your distress. You indicated in your letter, was it before the torpedoes that fortunately somebody had taken one of those
Yes.
offline?
Terry Aldebardier, he's a third-class radioman. He strung a long wire to the only antenna. He took that antenna offline because it wasn't working. So they didn't hit it because they were using heat-seeking missiles to hit all the antennas. Because when they're tuning, they throw off heat. And they took them all out except that one. And he got it. Thank God. I mean, there's reasons for all this happened. And he got hooked up, rockstar. And like I said,
There's a reason why all this happened. So this guy believes in Jesus. So this has to do with Jesus as well.
went to Vietnam, the 6th Fleet picked it up. They automatically sent aircraft from Saratoga and Captain Tully. And before they even hit the horizon, McNamara says, bring those aircraft back. Do not help Liberty. Turn around.
So it's the United States that did this? So the US was in on it? What's the purpose?
Our Secretary of Defense, I mean, this attack could, in theory, since he was able to get that message out, in theory, the attack could have been over. How long after it started?
Well, almost immediately. In fact, they could have saved 25 brave American lives, all spies that got killed when the torpedo hit.
But instead,
If they would have just let those planes come help us. But that wasn't the deal. We were set up by our own government to die.
so Robert
So it's not Israel, it's the American government that wanted to kill American sailors. Why?
McNamara, who in interviews thereafter says he doesn't remember a single thing that happened that day. That's what he told the Chicago Tribune. He doesn't remember anything that happened that day. He recalls them back. And then what happened?
Then
What do you mean he doesn't remember anything that happened that day? So to him, it was another insignificant day.
the American probably reconfigured their aircraft and they sent aircraft again because they went to a different command. It was their prerogative to go to a different higher.
Because they're thinking, what do you mean pull us back? Like our American.
And then LBJ gets on the phone And his exact words were, "I don't give a GD if all those sailors die. I'm not going to embarrass my ally Israel," like I said in the letter. Now, how did he know that if we didn't know it? Who was attacking us?
So they then have the president of the United States. So this guy's trying to do the right thing, Captain Tully. He's like, we're going to help them. He gets called back by the Secretary of Defense. He's thinking, I'm going to go over his head because this is crazy. And now the president of the United States is saying, I don't care. I don't give a GD if they die. I am not going to embarrass our friend and ally Israel. So he knew.
He knew. And, they destroyed Captain Tully's career, too. They fired him. He got fired for doing that. He was a World War II fighter pilot. Very, very highly decorated. Good man. In fact, he came to one of our reunions and broke down like a baby and cried. So I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. They wouldn't let me. And he took that to his grave.
I don't get it. A pilot was the captain of a ship, of a what? Of a squadron?
States. So this guy's trying to do the right thing, Captain Tully. He's like, we're going to help them. He gets called back by the Secretary.
Captain
The
Tally.
American
Captain,
Tully
okay, okay. So Captain Tally is from this. Is the head of a squadron? Is a squadron captain that is coming from where?
Their aircraft, and they sent aircraft again because they went to a different command. They wanted, it was their prerogative to go to a different higher.
Because they're thinking, what do you mean pull us back? Like our American.
Right. And then LBJ gets on the phone. And his exact words were, "I don't give a GD if all those sailors die. I'm not going to embarrass my ally Israel," like I said in the letter. Now, how did he know that if we didn't know it? Who was attacking us?
So they then have the president of the United States. So
Why do we need him to tell us what LBJ said? I mean, if he knows what LBJ said, then we should be able to see the document.
this guy's trying to do the right thing, Captain Tully. He's like, we're going to help them. He gets called back by the Secretary of Defense. He's thinking, I'm going to go over his head because this is crazy. And now the president of the United States is saying, I don't care. I don't give a GD if they die. I am not going to embarrass our friend and ally.
A GD. Oh, they can't say GD. They can't say goddamn because they believe in Jesus. So this guy is a Catholic, I guess. What else we have? Yeah, Catholic. War and Peace. He read War and Peace. This is the border wall. Who is this woman? She's hot. Jesus. Perfect body. Is this his wife? She's Asian or black?
Ally Israel. So he knew.
He knew. And, they destroyed Captain Tully's career, too. They fired him. He got fired for doing that. He was a World War II fighter pilot. Very, very highly decorated. Good man. In fact, he came to one of our reunions and broke down like a baby and cried. So I'm sorry, I couldn't help you. They wouldn't let me. And he took that to his grave. He was a broken man.
Oh, I can't even imagine what he went through.
Yeah.
Having to follow orders when the orders were so demonic.
Yes, absolutely.
So he gets called back again. This time it's from the president of the United States. And now you are seeing torpedo boats with the Star of David. Now you guys know, and you're thinking, amazing, we're about to get saved. We've got these flags inside. We know who these guys are. Fine.
Yeah.
We don't know who's attacking us, but we know these are our friends. When did you notice, wait a second, something's not right here?
When the old man said, prepare for torpedo hit starboard side, I saw two torpedoes go aft. Where the other two went, I don't know. But I know where one of them went. It hit in the communications spaces and killed 25 brave young men. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today, to be their voice. Because we're not going to let them die in vain. There's not many survivors left. They're dying out. And it's our duty as Americans and patriots to take care of them and make sure their lives didn't die in vain. And, all presidents and all Congress, including Donald Trump, has not done anything for us. They're beholden to the Zionist state, AIPAC.
Donald Trump is beholden to the Zionist state, AIPAC? Donald Trump? How? How? This is December 11th. Today's December 14th. So this is from a couple of days ago. This is 3 days ago. So he knows Trump was reelected. And Trump is still beholden? How?
Trump's a new president again. I call on Donald Trump to help us. I mean, we gave our lives and our blood for this country at the hands of the Zionists, Israel. And does he stand with Israel, or does he stand with the United States fighting men that were slaughtered that day by the Zionist state covered up, saying with mistaken identity? I call on you, President Trump, to give the USS Liberty the same courtesy we deserve.
Mistaken identity? So you agree that it was all a mistake?
By the Zionist state covered up, saying with mistaken identity. I call on you, President.
What do you mean? So you think the cover-up, that it was a mistaken identity, that really was all on purpose? But you're saying that the president wanted this to happen, and you're not even explaining why.
Trump to give the USS Liberty the same courtesy we deserve, or any fighting man that was killed that day. But we don't get it because Israel did it. It's fine as long as Israel did it. Everybody, it's fine. It was a mistaken identity. It wasn't. Admiral Moore, he had the Moore report. It's a very, very detailed report. He's the longest serving admiral in the United States Navy. He served as the European commander and the Pacific commander, and two times as chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And he says, I'll never believe it was a mistaken identity. And he called.
He'll never believe? Why? What do you mean? That means why? Why can't you believe that it's a mistaken identity? What's the purpose? What purpose did this attack serve? And you're saying that the American forces were called back by the president.
He called on Congress over and over to have an investigation. Congress says there already has been an investigation. There never has been. There's been a board of inquiry by.
So they say there was an investigation, but you say there wasn't?
Admiral Isaac Kidd and his boss, or his underling, JAG officer, Ward Boston. They completed that investigation in 7 days. Should have taken a year. They never even talked to Israel. They took Israel's word instead of ours.
So you're watching, you're on this boat, you see this torpedo hit, that torpedo instantly kills 25 servicemen, and you escape, fortunately, are able to escape this. What is going on in your mind? Because I just keep thinking of that moment of consciousness when you think you're going to be saved because you see your friend and your ally, and then suddenly you realize that your friend and your ally is actually killing you, and they're in torpedo boats, so there's no way they know this is an American ship.
Yes.
Right? What's going on in your mind and emotionally in that moment, if you could take yourself back? Like how that conscious switch of, wait a second, this is not my friend, I'm being betrayed.
I'm being betrayed? No, you're being misidentified. Why is it a betrayal? Why would Israel attack the U.S.? I'm trying to think. Why would Israel attack the U.S.?
Well, I think Jesus Christ would know a lot about betrayal, and we were betrayed. And
oh, Jesus was betrayed. Of course, Jesus was betrayed. I mean, Jesus, as far as we know, he told Judas to betray him. We know we have today the what do you call it? The gospel according to Judas. We have it. And we know Jesus told Judas to pretend betray. It was a literal black op. It was a conspiracy. Jesus and Judas conspired to pretend that that Judas is betraying Jesus.
I think that's one of the reasons I'm here is because Jesus Christ didn't want us to die that day. He wanted us. Well, I'll put it this way: God saved us from God's chosen people. That's what He did. Exactly what He did. We put over 3 life rafts. That's all we had left. They shot all of our life rafts up. We put 3 over. They shot 2 of them. We were going to put our most seriously wounded in them, so they'd have a chance at life. They shot 2 out of water and took 1 aboard the boat as a trophy of the kill. It's in Haifa somewhere.
They took 1 aboard, so there's absolutely no way they did not know that this was an American ship. They take 1 on board as a trophy. They're shooting out. You are now realizing that you cannot help the wounded. Torpedoes are hitting you.
They took 1 on board as a trophy? What?
What happens next?
Well, when the torpedo hit, we did what we could do for damage control, and we, like I say, put over the life rafts, and they shot them out of the water, and they continued doing that. And finally, they just quit. We thought it was over, but it wasn't. They sent over troop-carrying helicopters with Marines in it to board our ship, scuttle the ship, and kill us all. I was on the main deck when they were coming over.
What is your condition at that moment? What were you doing on the main deck?
I was on the main deck trying to still get people off the main deck. And then they got there, and this Marine, he had his foot on the skid. I thought they were going to come down in a rope or a ladder or whatever. And I just gave him the finger, and he gave it right back to me and just smiled.
This is an IDF soldier. He smiled at you.
Smiling. Great big smile, and they just took off. The gig was up. I mean, they confessed. Well, mistaken identity. He thought it was the El Gazir, which was a horse transport, and enemy ship. That's what they said. And that was their excuse, and they got by with it because of the crooked government then and now.
I just can't even imagine this. You were watching.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the simplest explanation. It makes the most sense.
Your mates die, bleeding, torpedo, napalm, and you make eye contact with this guy thinking he's going to board the ship. You give him the finger, and he gives you the finger back and smiles at you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they leave.
They leave, and we were out there for 17 hours.
I don't think an Israeli officer in 1967 knew what it means to give the finger. The American finger did not become an international finger until very recently. In 1967, no one in the world knew what it means to give the finger. So he probably just, if this is a true story, then he just imitated what it's like thumbs up. Maybe he thought that it's thumbs up.
This is the part that is so shocking to me because the President of the United States knows that you're under attack. The Secretary of Defense knows that you're under attack. You know that, as you said, Captain Tully tried twice to help save you. They know you're under attack, and you're telling me that after they went away, 17 hours. Take me through what you guys did. How many people at that moment were injured, dying? What was happening on that ship for the next 17 hours?
Well, 2/3 of the crew was either dead or wounded. And dockkeeper, we had one dock aboard the ship. He had been shot in the abdomen, and both of his knees were shot up. And he operated for 17 hours on people. I helped him in one operation, a guy by the name of Gary Blanchard. He was hit bad. And he says, take my socks off. My feet are hot. So I rubbed his feet, tried to get some circulation. I went over to the side, looked at him. He says, you think I'm going to die? I said, yeah, I think you are. And Doc cut him open, and he was dead. So that went on all night. Put a few stitches on him and put him up the side and just kept on doing it.
What were some of the last words? I'm sure, as you said, many people died. What did they say? I mean, what were the conversations that you recall?
You know, Candace, I really didn't recall a whole lot about that. I guess I just blocked it out. I do know that the Lieutenant Commander Armstrong, he died in the mess decks. He was hit up bad too, but I remember he was a heavy smoker. I lit him a couple of cigarettes, and then I left, and I came back, and he was dead. So the conversation was just helping people. Everybody was able-bodied to help them. I was in walking wounded. A lot of them were walking wounded, and all they did was want to help their fellow shipmates. Bravest crew I've ever seen in my life. I mean, we guys come together like none other. We had none to fight back with, but our will and our wits, and with God's beautiful hand on us. In fact, when that ship got torpedoed, it was like the hand of God was holding us up, because it was going like that, ready to roll over. It just stopped. Unbelievable.
And you were just 20 years old. It was just unbelievable.
Yes.
And so 17 hours later, 2/3 of the crew's dead. What happens? What ship did you see first? What was going through your mind?
Well, the first thing we saw was
So what's this thing with the 17 hours? Where was everyone? The U.S., Israel? I mean, this is obviously a complete mishap.
several days later when Admiral Kidd got there, and we told him everything, what happened, and why didn't you come help us, and this and that. And he took off his stars. He said, I'm just like your dad. He had 4 or 5 of us in the sick bay at the time. 3 stars out there. He said, I'm just like your dad. Please tell me everything you saw. We told him about the machining of the life rafts with the machining gun involved.
Okay, this is a complete waste of time. I'm becoming very hungering, so I might need to go. What do we have with X? Amazing.
Our nation was founded on the basic idea that the people we elect run the government. That isn't how America functions today. Most legal edicts aren't laws enacted by Congress, but rules and regulations promulgated by unelected bureaucrats, tens of thousands of them each year. The entrenched and ever-growing bureaucracy represents an existential threat to our republic, and politicians have abetted it for too long. That's why Doge is doing things differently. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are entrepreneurs, not politicians. They will serve as outside volunteers, not federal officials or employees. Unlike government commissions or advisory committees, they won't just write reports or cut ribbons. They'll cut costs. They will liberate individuals and businesses from illicit regulations never passed by Congress, stimulate the U.S. economy, and generate prosperity for the American people. Now is the moment to deliver a government that would make our founders proud. Now is the moment for decisive action. Now is the moment for Doge.
Doge. Yeah. Tax the rich, tax everyone. Oh my God. Sammy Hagar, 70 years old. Bill Clinton is 71 years old. Okay, what do you want? All right, I am exceeding the hungering limit that I can handle successfully. So Brett couldn't deal with the fact that Candace was let go. So Brett is probably also another anti-Semite. And I think the guy with the beard is also on the way out. He's also an anti-Semite. My intuition. Because he doesn't speak about anything international. He doesn't speak about Putin. He doesn't speak about Israel. My intuition is he supports Putin. He hates Zelensky. He hates Israel. So he's on the way out. That's my intuition. Yes, Mr. Laurie, how can I be of service to you?
Just one question.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you talking to when I was not here?
I'm recording. I'm streaming. I'm streaming live, and it's recorded on YouTube.
Interesting. What's the topic?
Can. Oh, he left. Very nice. Okay. Yeah. If this is very interesting, but very sad. Oh my god, am I?
Please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
didn't subscribe. Good stuff. I'd like to watch this next. But anyway, how long have I been here? Just 1 hour? Yeah, it's good enough. So what did we cover? So we didn't end up chilling. We discussed what is a conspiracy theory. Candace, Owens. What else? The USS Liberty mishap. Okay, that's basically it. All right. All right, everyone. I'll see you later. Thank you for hanging out with me.